Hello, hello, hello. It is Wednesday, time for Rockin the Love. I'm Robyn Rice Olmsted.
And I'm Gil William Olmsted, and we are happy to be your hosts of Rockin the Love, the stories and things about the joy of relationship. Interesting
True.
thought, huh? But we've been doing it a while, and we love it, and we love each of our people who come and guest with us, and the people that come and watch, and the people that check us out later. So thank you all so much.
It is a big love fest. So, today we are going to talk about love from the inside out. Is that right?
Love inside out.
Love inside out. Love inside out. Um, and just so you know, the way we pick these topics, it just varies. And sometimes it comes from a title, sometimes it comes from something else like a topic we want to address, but we don't generally talk a lot about it beforehand because we like to do that on the show. So Love Inside Out was Gil's title, Gil's pick, and we're gonna explore what that means.
Oh.
But first we're gonna check in. We're gonna check in. What's going on with all of you out there? Let us know in the chat. Let us know where you are and what's been going on. It's an interesting time in the world and change of seasons most places, and whether that's fall or what's it going into on the other side? Spring.
Huh. But both of those times generally see the temperatures changing and what you're seeing in the foliage changing and all that stuff.
Do you change? Do you change with the seasons?
Do I change with the seasons? Yes, I change my clothes with the seasons. What do you mean? Do you think I like my attitude
What's your favorite
changes?
season?
Oh, my favorite season is probably spring, summer.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then you can be outside and go do
Yeah.
hikey things.
I like to do lots of stuff outside, and I like it. However, sometimes here in the summer, it's so darn hot. It's been a little less. This time of year is nice because we're in that time when it's can get warm in the day, but cools off quite a bit by evening, even before it gets to night. So you can be outside, and so anyway. So
by here in the summer, he means New Mexico.
New Mexico, because that's where
where we are right now.
What are we doing? We're broadcasting from New Mexico. Now, today, our regular producer, Mike Mangus, is not with us. And so we are producing our own show. And so thank you in advance for all of your understanding. But we will have some fun with it.
And Michael, just so you know, is off at theology camp. I think that's so fun when adults have a camp. I do. I think we should have more of that.
Everyone should have camp.
Yeah, because it's fun. It's not like a conference or a seminar. It's camp, which means there's going to be fun.
Why
are you saying that?
Well, because I'm thinking it's like clicking for me. It's clicking for me, and I'm thinking, wow, that's what we need to do. We need to have a camp. We need to have a camp, and we have maybe some time where we do a little bit of exploration of learning stuff, but we have walks and hikes, and people can play volleyball, and they can swim at the pool. Maybe adult camp would be a little more resort-like.
Absolutely. No, but that's what it should be. I mean, that's what it should be. It's adult camp. There should be resort-like, massages and whatever people need or want. But, also some fun and some silliness and some integrated learning.
Hanging around together, singing songs.
Playing the guitar. Yep. Anyway, all right. Enough of our silliness. So that's basically what's going on here. The week has been interesting.
The week's been really good. I mean, really positive, a lot, and really positive. So we had a great thing at our music events on last Friday. We had a gentleman from Tucson, Arizona, who was incredible on the guitar, and he played solo. And believe me, he didn't need anybody else there necessarily. It was really, really fascinating and fun. So that was good.
Fascinating.
Fascinating to
What was
watch.
oh,
Well, because of what he could get out of the guitar.
yeah, I love it when you see musicians who are like making love to their instruments. I mean, but they're in relationship. You can see them talking.
Right.
It's not
Right.
just somebody playing.
Well, yeah, and then when they go to a different song, they have to pick up a different guitar to do that song because it's a different feeling. It's a different.
And they get so excited though, because it's like kids. It's like, okay, Joey, now it's your turn. They get so excited, like, now let me introduce to you. It was very sweet. Anyway, if you're at all interested, you can look it up on somewhere.
You look it up.
On Solid Grounds Cafe.
Solid Grounds Music Cafe.
Solid Grounds Music Cafe on Facebook, and it's out there on YouTube and stuff too, but under Rio Grande Center. What's his name?
His name was Ryan David Green.
Yeah.
Ryan David Green, and he played this last week.
He's won all kinds of awards. Anyway, yeah, that was good. Yeah, so it's everything just seems like it's moving fast. And I always think it does that in September anyway. Because like September's like, okay, say goodbye to the year. Because it just goes pew.
I've heard you say this several times. Oh my God, it's going to be October. It's October. That means it's January. I'm like, wait a minute. It does not mean it's January.
But it does. It does.
You're confused.
Well, no, I'm not confused. This is from the man that doesn't Christmas shop until December 24th. So I'm not confused at all.
Oh.
You're confused. Time goes fast.
Christmas shop.
Clearly. Note taken. 23 years in or whatever we are, 24, and I get it. You don't like the Christmas shop. Okay, but that's a different show.
That's a different show.
Today?
That's right.
Today we just want to welcome you here and, say hello to everybody, and we're just glad you're here. So, it's time for the good news. Da, 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 da. This is our segment where we talk about what's good in the world, knowing that there's a lot of good stuff going on, no matter what it looks like or feels like. There's just, the world is filled with good stuff. So today we're going to share a good news story in honor of Indigenous People Day and just in honor of everything going on in the world.
So I would love to share with you a little bit about this. There's a gentleman, Pentti Bahawi, but I can't pronounce his name, who's a Waorani indigenous man. And in 22, he made the brave move of actually going to court, which his tribe had basically little to no contact with the outside world. But he went to court to testify because in Ecuador, where they are, there were issues with the country wanting to do oil drilling, etc., and logging, and it has a huge effect on where the people lived. And it also had impact because all these people would come into their area. And so by him testifying, it actually led to a ruling that that indigenous people who choose to live outside of the normal way we all think of living, which is in contact with everyone, right? They want to live separated to some degree and continue. They have a right to do that. And interestingly enough, the people in Ecuador really didn't want more drilling and logging, but the government wanted it. But this allowed that to be stopped, and so it affects not only them but some other tribes as well. And
there were three tribes living
three
there,
tribes, right? And I think it certainly speaks to how we all should be looking at some of these things, you know, how do we honor that? And so anyway, I thought it was quite fascinating that this guy did not only did that, but that it actually proved fruitful. But also it was after 20 years of activism, etc., that it came to this. Oh, and the term is living in voluntary isolation. That was the term I was looking for, because that's, you know, if we allow autonomy, and that's what this tribe chooses, that's what we need to do. So it's a beacon of hope.
Yeah,
That's what
and
our
I
good
think
news story is.
it's really important. And we decided to share this story today because I think it's really important how we honor the people and the land and all of those things. And so I think it's a big win, it's a big celebration, and I just hope that it continues across the nations.
Hmm. Yes. And there's so many things to think about in terms of how we treat one another in our world, and how, you know, we think about indigenous people, and I don't even know how many peoples perhaps that were indigenous, perhaps who came in and then were conquered themselves, but how many peoples have been overtaken by somebody else, you know, by some other group that's decided they need to, or they have a right to whatever is there. And, you know, it's time for us to shift that attitude, because that's basically the attitude of imperialism. I mean, that's the attitude that built the English Empire, and that's the thing that drove the United States to continue to do the same thing, even though we broke away. So it's time for us to acknowledge all people, and, you know, let go of the things that have happened in the past. Let go of the Not so much let go of them to forget them, but to let go of those ideas that led to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to live into integrity
Yeah.
is really what I feel. So we are going to live into integrity in just a few minutes after a short break where we'll come back and talk about loving inside out. Love inside out.
Love inside out.
Love
Right
inside
here
out.
on New
So
Thought
don't
Media
go
Network.
away. Stay here or come back and we'll see you in a minute.
Hang on, folks. And we're back sooner than I expected. So I do apologize to my lovely co-host here who's chewing. So, but that's not her fault. It's my fault. So just know that. We are back with Rockin the Love, and we're excited to talk about love inside out. And as Robyn said, this was kind of something that came to me. And it came to me because it's the idea of, you know, we sometimes think of love from the inside out, but love inside out, we often think of love as what's coming to me. I often think of love as what I get out of certain situations.
Okay. Yeah. Can you speak from the eye? Just because it makes it easier for me to understand, because I don't, when you say we often get that, then I get lost. Then how do we get that? So if you speak from the eye, I don't think about it again because it's your issue. But if you speak from the we, I'm like, what is he talking about? It
Okay.
confuses me.
So my understanding of we as humans was what I was referring to, not individuals. Yes. And so I think I sometimes get caught in wrapping love into an idea that it is what's, I'm looking for love. I'm looking for how to receive that, or where it's coming from, or who's offering it, that kind of a thing. And love inside out is a concept of turning that around and realizing that it all flows from me in order to flow to me.
Mm.
So that's what it is. What do you think?
I mean, that sounds right. That sounds right. I mean, it's a good perspective to have. So say more about it. Say more about what you're thinking, because how there's times when it's challenging to get to a place of love, and you can't just go, okay, wait, hold on, it's coming through me, or can you?
Well, I think it's a matter of uh I mean, I hear you talking in a particular situation perhaps. And yes, I hear that. What I'm thinking of is our attitude towards it in general. Um and what is easy to do for me is to feel unloved, to feel not taken care of, whatever the words are, because of something that happened outside of me, something that happened that someone else did, something that happened that um, affected my life or in my job or whatever. And if I turn that around and remember throughout my day and throughout things that all the love I need is already present. And so how can I bring love to this situation if it doesn't feel loving to me? Does that make sense? Oh, I love it when you have no idea what I'm talking about or you don't
No,
agree with me.
it makes sense. It just sounds very airy fairy.
Okay.
Like, the reason I ask questions is because I like to make it as practical as I can for viewers or listeners, that they're so that they can live into a tool, or they can glean an insight. And like when we go, I know the love is inside of me, and I access it, I go within, and yeah, okay. And really, like, what is how when if I am in a situation where I don't like myself and I'm feeling that down on myself, like, it's challenging to remember or to
Mhm.
access. And so I was asking, like, for that kind of a response. So, yeah, what you're saying makes sense to me, you know?
Well, what I'm thinking is, yeah, if we're in a place where we're down on ourselves, I think the thing to do is to notice that probably it doesn't matter how much love is coming at us, we're not going to feel it because really we are blocking it, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But again, sorry
You
to
don't,
be
you,
technical. I think that I would prefer that you speak from the I, because that's not my experience.
okay.
But that's not my experience. Even when I'm feeling down on myself, there is a place where love can permeate that.
I didn't say there's no place where it can permeate it. What it said was we
I know.
tend to block it out.
I heard what
We
you
don't
said.
feel it to the extent, or I don't feel it to the extent that I think it's actually being communicated or sent in my direction.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So what about you?
I just told you. So what do we, well, I don't, for me, it doesn't work quite the way you're saying. I mean, first of all, I don't know that I ever get that down on myself. Honestly, I don't ever feel like I'm unloved or unlovable.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think that ever happens?
I don't think it happens. No, I don't.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
So why do you think sometimes no one likes you? Or why do you think that you've been abandoned? What is that from, you think?
No, I don't think I think that no one likes me.
Well, okay.
Right? So it's specific situations where I'm like, oh, they don't like me. That's their issue. That doesn't mean I'm not lovable. I like me. So it doesn't show up for me like they don't like me. It's the end of the world. What am I going to do? Nobody will ever like me. It doesn't show up like that for me. It shows up like they don't like me. It's a singular situation. And why do I feel like I'm abandoned? I mean, that's because people have left my life, so it doesn't make me go, nobody will ever be there. Might make me question it, but it's not based on me being lovable. I like me and I'm lovable and I think that. I really do. Not that my issue, that's not my issue.
Okay.
My issue is other flaws. I mean, I could be, smarter, I could be thinner, I could be this, I could be that. That might help more people like me, but it doesn't mean that they shouldn't like me now. I mean, really, that's my truth. That's my truth. I don't feel I really don't feel like people I don't feel unlovable. It's not it's a good question, Gil, but it's like it's not on the one level, there's a place at which I don't take it personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I mean, I wish it was different or I wish it wasn't the truth or whatever.
Do you think that's always been the case? I mean, do you think that there was ever a time when you, you that some of these things grew out of a place where you felt less than, if you will?
Again, less than does not equate with not being loved. I mean, of course, obviously, I was a child, I was an adolescent, I was a teenager, I had hormones, I had changes, I had thoughts. But did I ever think like, oh my God, nobody loves me or nobody's ever gonna love me? I didn't. I felt completely loved. I'm sure there's people that would tell me nobody in their youth felt that way or whatever, or based on family stuff, but that's not my experience.
And for anyone who's wondering about the veracity of that statement, she liked high school too. So,
I loved high school. I loved high school.
so that may give you a little bit of an insight.
I did. I loved high school.
Yeah, I actually did too. I actually enjoyed high school a lot. I just think it's funny though when you say it. So this is interesting. This is really interesting. And what I'm noticing is almost like you you appear to have, when you share, this resistance to saying you've ever found yourself unlovable. And I think that's interesting. I mean, in some ways, I think that's really good that you can stand so strongly in that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, obviously, again, I'm not saying,
Or unlovable. That's what I mean. Not unloved, but unlovable.
yeah, if you think you said that, but or at least that's what I heard. But anyway, I'm not saying that I haven't thought, oh, everything would be better if I lost 20 pounds or if I knew, how to do something in school that somebody else did or at a job or whatever. I'm not saying I never have had that thought go through, but it hasn't defined my worth.
Hmm. Hmm.
And to your title, I think for me that's what love inside out means, because if I can't love inside, I can't love out.
Hmm. Hmm. That's true. I
And
mean, I
so
would
for
say.
for me that's what the title meant when you said this is our topic, was more about loving ourselves and really, being truthful and genuine with that. And so that, I mean, that's kind of why it was an easy switch for me, or who knows? I mean, because I feel like a lot of the basis of, you know, these philosophies and new thought and science of mind and all those things were in me, the way I was raised and things like that, which was really a love of spirit and spirit as me. And so it for me, that part, like when we do a prayer or we talk about loving God, and we're the same, I get it. I'm like, I mean, as a kid, I used to think I was God anyway. I did. I did. I did. I was like, I didn't want to tell anybody because I thought that was whacked. But I mean, that's what I thought. No, because
That's the
like
best part.
God in a kid's head, God does magical things, and I used to think I did some magical things.
And I'm sure you did.
I sure did, and do to this day. Don't you forget it. But you know what I
Oh.
mean? I mean, so the love part, I don't think the love for me has ever been the issue.
Mm. So I'm sensing that maybe there's something else there.
I don't know, but
Okay.
that's not what this show is about.
Well,
So we don't need to find it.
okay, we don't need to talk about that. I guess I didn't nail that
Well,
one on
no,
the
I
head.
mean, no, it's not that. It's not that. It's just that like I'm not superhuman. It's like, are there insecurities? Are there things that keep me from doing other things? Sure, but does that have to do with if I don't do them, will I still love myself? Yeah. Do I not? Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's, I get what you're saying. And, we could go into other things, but that's really not the point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because as you're talking, I'm finding those places where I have really had times when I did not feel lovable, and so those were the points at which it was virtually impossible for me to receive love. And I don't know if that's from, maybe I absorbed more of this idea that I needed to be forgiven as a child,
Mhm.
and somehow internalizing that had an effect on how I viewed this kind of a thing. Um, because at the same time, in general, in general, huh, in general, I've always felt pretty good about myself in many ways and love myself. But it's like the places where it's shown up where I didn't feel that way have been very yucky. They feel massive, even though in terms of my lifespan, they're not very much, but they've felt huge.
And if I can just comment on that, I think that because I think we're kind of similar in a lot of ways. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that you have, from my experience of you and the stories of you from when you were younger and things, I think that there's a part of you that's always loved yourself and known exactly who you are and the power of who you are. And then the difference between us is you swing to an extreme.
Mm,
So when it's not good, it goes to completely not good. And why how can I love myself and be such a mess or whatever? And then you get logical about it and start to chop it up, and then you can talk yourself out of anything, because you're logical. If I was this good and people love me, then this would happen. And why isn't this?
hmm
And so I think that's what happens in the psyche anyway. Whereas I go, huh. Isn't that interesting?
Can I comment? You're not logical.
I'm
For in that way.
In
I
that
mean,
way.
we have this argument all the time. I say, how can you say that? And she said, I don't know. That's just what I think.
So it's what I feel.
Or what I feel. Okay.
And that, I think that's an important differentiation because I think and from my feelings a
Mhm.
lot of the time. Can I be logical? Sure. It can be logical. I can deduce it. But for me, first of all, generally as a child too, if you were going to go to logic in terms of usually at that point telling me something that couldn't be done, oh, that just lit me up, right? I was like, oh no, that you can't say that it can't be done. And I was set out to do it. So, it's that opposite game of, I go to, oh no, it doesn't have to be like that. And you go to, what are you talking about? It's freaking like that.
So yeah, when I'm in that state, and yet
Yeah.
I can do exactly what you just said
Yeah.
pretty well too, and have done it. And I think over time and over growing in understanding spiritually of myself and the world, I think my my propensity towards not loving myself, my propensity towards any of those things has lessened dramatically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, and I guess that's the experience I speak from when I sometimes say, it feels like we do this sometimes because I think other people experience it, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think other people experience that kind of thing too.
Oh, definitely. I definitely think people experience it, which is really one of the reasons I ask you questions because you can explain them better, or you can, you might be able to give those chunks of information. But yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And what you're saying, I think, is one of the keys. And that I think what you've done over the years to get to this new place is you've truly embodied the oneness factor,
Mhm.
because there's a point at which, for anyone out there, no matter where you are on this journey, like, to me, until we really get the oneness that God and us are one, or spirit, or the universe, or Buddha, or Allah, or whatever you choose to call it, that, that I can't, that when I am negative, or whatever the word is, about myself, when I'm down on myself, then I'm down on spirit, you know? And for me, that's a big awareness, you know? It's a big awareness. So it's like, for me, it lets go of circumstances of, you know, yeah, I wish I didn't have this pimple on my face, or I wish I lost 20 pounds, or, God doesn't love somebody that looks like this, or is fat or skinny, or, it takes that charge away from it, because it's impossible. It's impossible because it is God.
Mhm.
It is spirit. It is the divine presence within us all.
I think I was thinking, that part of this journey for me was from my head to my heart. And the reality is, I don't think that's quite accurate. I think it was a journey of trusting my heart, because I think it's always been there, coming from that space of feeling and knowing and trusting. And it's taken a while to get to where that's the norm, instead of trying to outthink it.
Or trusting your head.
What do you mean?
You said you think it's a journey of trusting your heart.
Hmm.
I think it's a journey of trusting your head.
Oh, interesting. Because I think my head thinks all kinds of things.
It does. But when your head thinks with your heart, when your head and your heart are one, that's when you go, oh, danger, danger, Will Robinson. Now, what if that, and then you get logical. And so if you can trust that your head is making that heart decision. I mean, I think it's a both and. You can look at it either way, but I think again, I'm going to the oneness factor. When you separate your head and your heart like that, can you separate your head and your heart like that? I mean, I can't. I mean, I could if I needed to, but generally, my head and my heart think together because my heart is who I am.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying. I get what you're doing here.
This is a very technical yet woo show.
It's tech woo. Woo tech.
Yeah, so it's an interesting journey.
And you know how you always say you have a soundtrack in your head?
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting songs that I change slightly to fit what we're saying while we're talking, and it's terrifying. So anyway.
That's what happens when you've been married a long time. I always have a song going in my head. There's just always a soundtrack. So
Interesting. So
you want to share what you're hearing
well,
or no?
I was thinking of Olivia Newton-John. Let's get logical. Let's get physical. And I thought I woke up this morning with my mind down on spirit. We could put it in a minor key and could become a skit.
You are ready for the New Thought talent show.
Oh, but are they ready for me? Oh my goodness.
So the other thing that comes up from Love Inside Out is the movie Inside Out and the character of love. I mean, that's what I thought about when you said it. Just that movie and how that character's each emotion goes through its journey and all of those things, which is a good movie to watch if you've never seen it.
Is one of the characters love? Is that, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And how does that character show up? I mean, does it struggle through the process? I guess it probably does, like the others to some degree.
You know that I never remember movies.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought since you brought it up, you might have.
Yeah. I never remember movies after I see them. I mean, literally, like you can walk out and there's very little that I remember, except like I liked it or somebody's performance or something like that. But yeah, no, I only know that because when I was Googling Love Inside Out, I remembered it when I saw that.
Ah, okay.
Because that was when you said Love Inside Out, that was the first thing I thought of anyway.
Yeah. And I think obviously, obviously, my thought would be that whole Inside Out movie series or whatever, the thought behind that was really exploring what's going on the inside. You know, what's all the stuff that's underneath what's coming out.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think,
and how you make it work together.
Yeah, and I think we all have the opportunity to examine that in ourselves, particularly when something comes out that we think that's not really what I wanted to do, or I didn't mean that, or whatever, and we get to kind of go back and look, and I guess for me that's the remembering that it's from the inside out. When it comes out, there's something going on the inside. You know, that's one of the things. And also, I can't find it outside of myself. I have to be able to know it for myself. It's, nobody's going to come along and make me lovable or think I'm lovable. Let me change that. No one's going to come along and make me feel that I'm fully loved and lovable. They may make me feel loved for a minute or for a while, but ultimately, if I can't get to the place where I'm knowing that same thing, it doesn't work so well. I mean, yes, there may be bumps in the road, but this is a generalization. You know, there's always those bumps, particularly with me, because I like to bump. Bump, 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 bump.
I don't think you feel like you're on the road unless you can feel the bumps. I think it's part of your makeup.
Look, there's a speed bump. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm still stuck on nobody can make you feel lovable. I'm like, what the heck have I been doing the last 20 some years or loved?
Yes, but I couldn't depend on you and what you did
I
for
got
me to feel lovable.
I got it.
You helped me getting to myself seeing it, but I couldn't depend on you.
Well, and that's why it's so important when we're again on this spiritual journey, that the steps are to surround yourself with those people and those things that make you feel loved, lovable. I mean, if that's the issue we're dealing, lovable, that bring that love into your life, and the beauty and the things that you love outside, it's like when people say, well, go somewhere that you feel good, it's like if it's the mountains, if it's the beach, there's a part of that for you when you're out riding your bike or in the mountains that's love for you, and same for me at the beach, that's love. When I hear the ocean, that's the a whole love thing.
It's like a little love fest. But it is true. I mean, I hear you that's um, allowing ourselves the opportunity to regenerate, to refuel, to feel what we need to feel that reminds us of who we are, reminds us of for me, I'm reminded at the ocean of the power and the possibility and all of that, and mountains tend to bring out the tranquil and the light touch and the loving, support. But they both bring out that part inside that I remember is part of me.
Right.
You know?
It allows you to recognize who you are. It is the oneness. So we go back to the oneness. It is recognizing that you're a part of that big scheme, and it makes me think, and like that, what you were saying, I was thinking about some of our friends and our listeners that are out there. And I was thinking about when they show up and the way they love us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of, do you know who I'm thinking of?
I think I do.
So, I mean, I'm specifically thinking of Alvin and Louise, just thinking of how when they show up, it's a light. You have those people in your life or in your centers or wherever that show up and they're just a light. They bring the light. And, when they say things to you like, oh, that was great, or you did great, or they acknowledge something, it's a different feeling. I mean, it's like you get a reshot, re-energized, and I think that's the thing is like when you start to surround yourself with the love that I know it's the love that you are, but it's the love that you want, it's things happen in a different way, right? It all becomes one.
And I think that the difference for me is what I'm seeking when I'm doing that. I think when I'm seeking to understand myself and to know better myself and do that in people that are supportive and all of that, that's one thing. But when I'm looking around trying to find that love rather than having it within, then that's where the issue comes in, if you will.
That's where the challenge comes.
The challenge.
Well, I mean, it is. That's the challenge because then you're not feeling 100%, so to speak.
Right. And I'm looking for something that's going to magically fix it, as opposed to enjoying and being a part of a supportive place. And that's the other thing, supportive love does not always look like someone telling me I'm absolutely wonderful and lovable, but it's someone telling me the truth and still loving me, which makes me realize that I can do the same.
Right.
I can acknowledge my truth and be lovable and love myself.
Right. Which is the authenticity, the real, the honesty, the the true beingness, sort of. Well, and it's all a reflection of the one, you know? So it's like we mirror to what, sometimes what we see and sometimes what's needed to be seen. Like
Mm,
when when you're feeling like you need strength or courage, sometimes someone shows up that shows you that in a different way or that symbolizes that,
mhm,
you know, or or whatever. I mean, it's interesting the way it works. And like that's one of the things I think from as I've gotten older and started to like really be able to witness parts of my life, to watch and stand back and go, huh, why is that happening? And look at how that just happened. It's like when you see those things show up, it's interesting, to see the way the puzzle comes together.
mhm, mhm. I just read something on Facebook today from um, someone we know very very well who talked about how their life was falling apart a year ago. Everything was whatever happened was terribly personally devastating, and how now she sees the possibilities in it all, and how she's moved into this whole new space. And I think that's the kind of thing that we can do when we reflect. We can see what's happened from the point A to the point B. You know, what we can see that we survive it and it's good ultimately. And I think that's where we're, really working at understanding for ourselves. For me, is understanding that yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel perfect, but that doesn't make it wrong or bad. Just makes it just makes it a challenge in that moment. You know, um, I've been fired. Other people have been fired. We've, people have lost loved ones to death or some specific disease that was scary to them, or all those kinds of things have happened. And and where do we go from there? And if we go to a place of trying to find something that's going to make us feel better, trying to find that thing that's going to make us lovable again, I don't think we'll make it. But if we go to that place of being able to trust that love is resides within me, love love resides where I am, I think that changes everything.
I agree.
Oh, thank God. I was so
I
worried you
I
wouldn't agree with anything I said today.
I agree, and I think that for me, and because there's moments where it's challenging to do that, to go to you know
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
what's good happening here, because if we follow the thought line of everything happens for a reason, or in time on time, all those things, but the thing is, because sometimes you want to, when somebody says to you it can only be perfect, you want to sock them,
Hmm.
you know and even if it's the truth in that moment, that's not what, you're not at that stage. And so for me, in those times, like when I get to the stage where I can do more inquiry or thought around it, I try to go to gratitude. What am I grateful for in this moment? And if it's the loss of a loved one, maybe I'm grateful I had them in my life for this long, or grateful for the things they've taught, or all those kind of things. But it can be a challenge in the moment to love the inside.
And I think what partly what I was commenting on was, as you were saying, as we move through life, I think it's easier because I've had the experience of that happening. And so when I'm right now in the middle of the ugly, if you will, there's a little part of me that knows I've survived before. There's possibility. In
Well,
this
this too
moment,
shall
it
pass.
feels horrible, and I do know that some point I'll be able to see, and I'll be amazed by what's come out of it. But right now, sorry, that's not what I'm feeling.
Yeah, this too shall pass,
Yeah.
right? And that you'll get to a place.
And I think that's where probably the littlest kids come into the world, and they kind of know that already, and then they kind of lose it, and it's hard for them to see that possibility, and we have to continue to um, work with kids to love them so that they can grab onto that, um, and know that whatever little things are happening, it's going to be okay, or whatever big things are happening, it's going to be okay.
So I think that's the invitation for today. Um, is can you know that everything's going to be okay? Can you let your little kid know that everything's going to be okay? The little kid within you, because especially in this day and time, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of things going on that, people don't know. They're afraid if it's going to be okay. They don't know how their money is going to play out or their medical insurance or their job situation. And so where can we stand in that knowingness and in that place of truly being with who you are, what you have, and starting to from loving that and then building on that to go forward? That's my question.
Yeah.
That's my invitation. That's our invitation. And we hope that you'll be back next week. And we would love to see you. So come back, invite your friends, let them know that we're right here every Wednesday on New Thought Media Network. And if there's a topic or something you want to talk about, feel free to let us know. As my husband waves his arm in front of the camera, feel free to let us know because we'd love to answer your questions and make all of this love teaching more palatable and easy for you to
More accessible,
access.
more true to self, more able to be helpful. That's the thing. Should be helpful.
Yeah. So have a good week, everybody, and make sure you love each other. The world needs it more now than ever. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.